too.
Okay.
I got the Ecclesiastes 1:9.
Beautiful. Cool. Nothing new under the sun.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we'll start off with that. Then go into the history of Sodom and Gomorrah. I don't got my other phone with me to look at the precept up, but it's all good. I believe that's in Genesis chapter 15, if I'm not mistaken. But it's all good. We can, we can start it off, Cool, we already live. All right, Shalom.
Shalom.
First and foremost, we want to give all praise, all honor, and all glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Rakakodash. Double honors to our apostles and the elders of Great Millstone. Peace, blessing, and many salutations unto you elect across the four winds of this earth, fulfilling your lots in all truth and all sincerity. We're the Great Millstone Dallas branch, all right, coming to you all with another lesson through the Spirit. Lord's willing, this lesson here will be edifying unto the flock, all right. The priest Benaiah right here, and I'm priest Arm. And as you see the title of this, going into how Sodom shall be overthrown and burned with fire. The spirit and the works of Sodom are going to be burned up with fire. All right. And when you look at the history of what took place with Sodom, Gomorrah, and those neighboring cities, they was judged due to mass amounts of wickedness that was taking place. And just as that work took place back then, and you saw those works on the planet Earth then, you're seeing them all over again today. All right, and there's numerous precepts, and we're going to go into it, tying this place to Sodom and Gomorrah and those neighboring cities. All right, and those works that was done in Sodom that you read about it in the book of Genesis, you read about how bad it was. Remember when you was a child, when we were children, and you would hear about it, and you like, golly, man, homosexuals running everywhere, moles, hopefully, moles running everywhere, this, that, and the third happening. And it had you thinking Sodom and Gomorrah was this horrible, atrocious place, which it was, all right? But you look at the works here over here in Babylon, and it's really got that bypassed. This is the most wicked nation to ever exist, all right? So wicked that it actually is reminded and likened to some Sodom and Gomorrah. And there's scriptures that we can go into that symbolically reference Sodom and Gomorrah and tying that to Mystery Babylon based off the atrocious, odious works that took place, But hey, you got your precept, bro.
Ecclesiastes 1:9. The things that have been is that which shall be done, and that which is done is that which shall be done, and there is no new thing under the sun. Yeah, it's like
it's all good.
Like the brother said, man, the things that were before time, we seeing, he got the example of Sodom and Gomorrah. We seeing these things again happening during this time, man. Okay, like it says, there is no new thing under the sun. And America takes on, like the priest said, all these old kingdoms, and their works, man. Okay, just like that's why it says in Revelations 11:8, that spiritual city which is called Sodom and Egypt. You see, the same thing was happening back then is happening now during this time, man. But on a higher level, man, wickedness have increased, man. Okay, under whose rulership? Esau, Edom's, man. You see, it tells you that in the book of Maccabees, during the time of the Greeks, man, that wickedness multiplied under their rulership, man. You got something?
Come. This is Proverbs chapter 29, verse 16. And it says, when the wicked are multiplied, transgression increaseth. But the righteous shall see their fall. Just as you brought up the example in the book of Maccabees, the first chapter. All right, when Esau first got in that power seat, because you read about Maccabees, and that's going into where that third beast came in power, that leopard that you read about in Daniel the 7th chapter. But also the significance of that third beast is also going into when the so-called white man, or Esau, Edom, as you will, took power on the planet Earth and started utilizing this blessing that you can read about in Genesis the 27th chapter. All right, and soon as that man got into the power seat, all right, wickedness increased. So much wickedness that there was works that was likened unto Sodom and Gomorrah. All right, and you read about Sodom and Gomorrah. We're going to pull that history up as well. All right, but you had righteous Lot who was over there, and he was vexed by everything that he saw. All right, and best believe, just as Lot was vexed with the filthy conversation, with everything that he saw, best believe righteous Lot is somewhere here today. He's somewhere here today in that same spirit of vexation. And it also goes into the prophets and the believers that are within that same spirit of vexation as our father Lot was. Seeing this stuff and get it, you can know all the prophecies under the sun. But that don't change the fact that when you see these things, it's going to vex the shit out of you. All right? To see a man walk around identifying himself as a woman, All right, a woman walking around identifying herself as a tree, all right, so forth, is vexation to the spirit and vanity, as the scriptures say. All right, I'm pretty used to. Did you see the clip that a brother posted earlier? I think it was Yashawamba that posted, going into that guy that was asking a lot of these college questions. If I identified as an Asian woman, how would you feel? And everybody was like, oh, well, I wouldn't really have a problem with it. I mean, really, it's all according to how you feel and your feelings about it. And then he made the statement saying, well, if I identified myself as a 7-year-old child, how would that make you feel? And the question started getting more out of the ordinary to see if they was going to have the same exact response as they did when he identified himself as an Asian woman. You know, and then when he said, well, let's say I identify myself as 6'5", and he was only 5'7". He was like, how would that make you feel? And they was like, nah, I mean, I wouldn't really be like that. And it's more so gauging their mindset. Well, if I identify myself right here, how was this not a problem? But if I identify myself just by another cubit of height, then it's an issue. And it really shows you the mass amounts of confusion that's here. And this confusion is only going to last so long. Again, that's why this shit is going to get burnt the hell up. You know? Go ahead, Doc.
The Sirach 10 and 2, it says, as a judge of the people is himself, so are his officers, and what manner of man the ruler of the city is, such are all they that dwell therein. Like the priest was giving that example of this dude asking these people questions, man. And it's clear to see that these people have taken on a mindset of Esau, Edom, man. Especially, you know, you so-called Negro, Latinos, and Native Americans, man. What, like I said, man, what manner of, I'll read that again. It says, what manner of man the ruler of the city is, such are all they that dwell therein. And what manner of ruler is Esau? A wicked ass nigga, man. Okay, so like-minded, these people are going to be the same way, man, because they're taking on his way. Because Esau pushes out his way of thinking, his philosophies. Okay, and that's the thing that he teaches in school. That's what he puts in his his all these different colleges, and indoctrinates, what I'm saying, these people with this his mindset, man. You see, that's why wickedness is an all-time high to this nigga, man. Like the scripture says, his tongue walking through the earth, man. Everybody is trying to be like this nigga, man. You see?
That's right. That's right. Everybody wants to be like him, which is a reflection of pure wickedness, and that is transformed into sodomy. All right, because Esau is a natural-born Mo. He's a natural-born Mo. That's why all this comedy has a lot of, I don't want to say the word due to YouTube and demonetization, but that's why when you even go on that, you see nothing but filth and, nothing but filth and Moism. Moism, I use that. All right. And what you see out here in Babylon with E's MO out here, his energy put on everybody. Namely, they got Jake standing at the forefront of this. All right. It makes sense. I'm going to say this too, man. If you're a righteous person, if you consider yourself to be a believer in the Heavenly Father, you're supposed to be vexed with everything that you see, man. Sure. Because it's straight up wickedness, bro. You got a precept or anything?
Yeah, got one.
Okay.
This Jude 1:7. Even as Sodom and Gomorrah and the cities about them in like manner giving themselves over to fornication and going after strange flesh are set forth as an example, suffering the vengeance of eternal fire. You see? So the Lord did that for an example on how, people shouldn't be. But Esau, and being the wicked nigga that he is, he don't give a damn, man. When it's clear to see that, because look at the laws that he passes, man. You got him, it's running rampant, man. Especially under, it started, really under who you niggas worship so much, Obama. Your precious Obama,
right.
That's when this shit just got all out of hand, man. You see? And you niggas been here, then still getting shot down by the police, and you rather choose to give laws onto, the LGBTQ, man.
Exactly.
You see? But Esau, being a wicked nigga that he is, he don't care. You know what I'm saying? That's why Yahweh Shema Shah said in Psalms, man, what have you done to declare my statute, seeing you hate instruction, man? Esau hates the way of the Lord, man, and sets forth his way. And then he's contrary, man. That's why he's an adversary to the Most High.
Right. Yeah, it said they went after strange flesh. What is that strange flesh likened unto, man? The same flesh as you.
Yeah.
Via example, you a man, they wanted to go after a man. They wanted to lay with a man. The woman wanted to lay with women. And vice versa. You see that today. All right, and we brought up the example of Greece. All right, in the days of Alexander, that's the stuff that they was on. When you watch that documentary, it's a biography really, but it's a movie. I believe it's Colin Farrell that's playing Alexander the Great. It shows you the spirit that he was in, and the spirit of his father, Philip of Macedon. All right, and how he actually was having sex with Alexander's childhood friend. And those Greeks were really heavy into that. Those Greeks and those Romans were very heavy into same-sex activities. And again, as we brought the precept out earlier, going into how wickedness multiplied and increased, you see that same spirit today going after that strange flesh. That's all that's really promoted here. And again, we said it earlier that Esau has put our people, Jake, in the forefront of all this. Mm-hmm. All right, even when you look at the Marvel comics, Marvel movies now, back then, some years back, everything was good. Well, now they started adding that Moism agenda to it. Even the recent Doctor Strange movie that came out, spoiler alert, all right, just letting y'all know, spoiler alert, okay? You have the new character, all right, the new Marvel character, her name was America Chavez, who was a Northern Kingdom chick, looked like she was Issachar, all right? But they brought her in there in Marvel to introduce the LGBTQ community to Marvel, all right? Because when you go into it, her two parents were women. When you go into that, she's like, yeah, my moms, I haven't saw my moms in a minute. And it showed a little clip of two women, and they got sucked away in another dimension, and she's crying and everything, which I praise the Lord on that. It's a movie anyway. But just going to show you how wicked this has gotten and how they put the so-called Negro, Latino, and Native American at the forefront. Look at BLM, Black Lives Matter, all right? They consider themselves a black life, which really that's an oxymoron within itself because black represents death. But you got BLM, right? Well, the heads of BLM are witches and moles and trannies, And again, they got Jake sitting at the forefront of all of this, which shows you that this is clearly an agenda, all right? But best believe, just because they putting Jake in the forefront on it, don't mean that Esau are the main ones that's involved in this. They always got to put the face of a Jake to promote something because we the trendsetters, all right? But you look at Edomites, man, they're the main ones that be into that activity. I kid you not, even at the job that I work at, all right, there's this Jake that has some flaming essence to him. You know what I'm saying? Some flaming essence. And one of my coworkers' area, I said, this big old Edomite dude. You know what I'm saying? I kid you not, all he got is nothing but great things to say about him. But this dude be roid raged out and mad. But as soon as when it comes to him, and it's a thought in my mind, I'm like, yo, I got a feeling he got a crush on this dude or something like that, man. And if you was there, you would see what I'm talking about. But it's like, it makes sense that that's the case because he's a natural born Mo. All right. But again, we're going to touch up on Sodom and Gomorrah and go into a little history on it and how that directly correlates to America and not even just the spirit that was there, but also the judgment that followed after it. All right. First, you have the activity that takes place, and then you have the judgment that took place. All right. As the scriptures say, though sentence against an evil work is not executed speedily, therefore, it is fully set in the hearts of the sons of men to do evil. All right, so that judgment didn't hit Sodom immediately. All right, they had to allow their sins to multiply, their sins to reach out to heaven, and then the judgment came. All right, and this ain't too long after the Tower of Babel neither. Okay, so when those languages got split and they started doing their own thing and following their own ways, all right, they went over to that land and started going balls to the wall on freakism and nastiness. All right, now I got the history of this pulled up in Genesis chapter 13. And I'm going to just jump to the point. Matter of fact, I'll start from the top. It says, and I'll just read through it quick. But it says, and Abram went up out of Egypt, he and his wife, and all that he had, and Lot with him into the south. And Abraham was very rich in cattle, in silver, and in gold. He was a very wealthy man. Okay? And he went on his journeys from the house, and he went on his journeys from the south, even to Bethel, unto the place where his tent had been at the beginning, between Bethel and Hai, unto the place of the altar which he made there at first, and there Abram called on the name of the Lord. And Lot also, which went with Abram and his flocks and herds and tents. And the land was not able to bear fruit, bear them, and they might dwell together, for their substance was great, so that they could not dwell together. And there was strife between the herdmen of Abraham's cattle and the herdmen of Lot's cattle. Now Lot was Abraham's nephew, but they both came from a wealthy father. Lot's father was Abraham's brother, and his father was wealthy. All right, so Abraham had his cattle, his herd, his servants, and the same thing with Lot. And it was so many of them, it was strife because it's so much to share. All right, now we continue. It says in verse 9, in the whole land, verse 8, and Abram said unto Lot, let there be no strife, I pray thee, between me and thee, and between my herdmen and thy herdmen, for we be brethren. Is not the whole land before thee? Separate thyself, I pray thee, from me. If thou wilt take the left hand, and I will go the right. Or if thou depart to the right hand, then I will go to the left. And Lot lifted up his eyes and beheld all the plain of Jordan, and it was well watered everywhere, before the Lord destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah, even as the garden of the Lord, like the land of Egypt, as thou comest to Zoar. Then Lot chose them all the plain of Jordan, and Lot journeyed east, and they separated themselves one from another. Abraham dwelled in the land of Canaan, and Lot dwelt in the cities of the plain, and pitched his tent towards Sodom. But the men of Sodom were wicked and sinners before the Lord exceedingly. Where's that in Second Ezra? I think 15th chapter. Yep. All right, yeah, Baba Kashaf. Yeah, because it says the wickedness of Sodom was exceedingly wicked. All right, and you see that same wickedness today. The spirit of America, the spirit of Sodom, that exceedingly wicked, that exceeding wickedness has polluted the land of America. All right, you got it? Okay.
All right, this is Second Ezra chapter 15. In verse 6, it's starting at verse 5. It says, Behold, saith the Lord, I will bring plagues upon the world, the sword, famine, death, and destruction. For wickedness have exceedingly polluted the whole earth, and their hurtful works are fulfilled.
Now it says wickedness has exceedingly polluted the whole earth. So it don't change the fact that the whole earth is polluted with this wickedness. But there is a chief nation, a chief place, people and nation in this earth that had started this exceeding wickedness. And again, you brought up the example with Alexander and his generals, how there was wickednesses multiplied on the face of the earth. And then the precept was brought out where in Proverbs 29, going into when wicked increase, transgression increaseth also. So as this wicked man had got the power seat of the earth is given into the hands of the wicked. Wickedness has exceedingly polluted the whole earth. That spirit of Sodom, which really that's going into America, Babylon, but that westernized mind, that westernized agenda has went across the plains of the whole earth. All right? We talk about it all the time. They started over here, but now you go over to the land of Israel within itself. All right? Over in the land of Tel Aviv, you have Pink City, which is a homosexual parade. All right? In other different areas, man, it's reached out to all the corners of the earth. All right? Especially areas of South America. All right? Where Jake is at. There's certain areas in Brazil and Colombia and such where it's like, yeah, the women are beautiful, but you got to make sure that that's so. Some of them are women. Because you can't even tell because of these dang surgeries that they're having. All right? And what makes it worse, that it's justified. That's what makes it so much more polluted. It's the fact that it's justified and it's accepted. So now that it's accepted, everybody else wants to do it now. They're putting stuff in food. They're feeding this information to your children, telling you it's okay. You got a 5-year-old child. A 5-year-old child that you got to be nervous to send to school because of the information that they're giving them and the stuff they're feeding these children, man. All right? Lo and behold, you a parent, but you got this kindergarten teacher that's telling you, well, what do you identify as? You know it's okay to identify this way. You don't got to feel bad. And this is a child. They don't know no better.
Exactly.
You know? So they're going to just go with the flow if the Spirit of the Lord is not with them. All right? That's how it pollutes the whole earth. The simple fact that all of this is accepted. And they don't do anything to stop it. And these are the wiles of Satan. All right? Who Esau Edom is coming in the physical presence as. This is what they're pushing. All right?
That's right.
You got anything?
Yep. Galatians chapter 6 and verse 7. Be not deceived, the Most High is not mocked. For whatsoever a man soweth, that shall he also reap. You see? So Esau, right, like the brother's going into, man, these things that Esau does, and we read that precept earlier about how the Most High set Sodom and Gomorrah as an example on how not to live. You see? But Esau is basically mocking the Most High by living that way. You see? And he takes something such, because he next month is so-called Pride Month, man. He makes a whole month dedicated to that wickedness, man.
And that started when Obama was in office.
Yeah. Man, bro.
You got it.
Then with the rainbow, man. The Most High take Yahweh Shemal Shah made the rainbow. He said, I set my bow in the clouds for a covenant. You see, Esau takes something that the Most High made and turns it into wickedness, man. So basically, he's mocking the Most High with this thing, man. You see, some as beautiful as a rainbow, Esau makes and turns it into wickedness, man. You see?
That's right. And then he puts the black woman at the forefront of all this, man. When you see a black woman, a cluster of black women, all right, you see one Mo sitting up in there. All right. Hey, girlfriend.
Yeah.
You know, $40.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Eve is the main one that accepts this, bro.
Yep.
Malone. You know? Got Stockton and Malone. Esau and Eve, man. Malone be the main one that backs up Eve's agenda, and that's fully with the shit, bro. She's another reason why this place is polluted the way it is, man. Because now she's the head of the house. Jake ain't there no more in the picture. He's either in jail or on child support somewhere. He don't got no type of say-so with the wickedness that's taking place. And now you got this chick that agrees with everything that Eve's doing, teaching your children. Mm-hmm. So she's a huge reason why this is going on as well. And just like that's taking place today, I guarantee you back in the days of Sodom and Gomorrah, those women was with all that stuff, bro. Because they didn't correlate this with fun and joy. Girls like to have fun. They correlate all that with fun. All I want to do is just make sure everything's fun and everybody's peaceful and getting along together. You know? That was the spirit that was going on in Sodom. That's where all that freakism was taking place. Everything was fucking accepted. Excuse my French. There was no moral standard that was over there. There's no moral standard here today. We talked about it on Friday at camp, going into degeneracy. And how degeneracy is literally the standard over the earth. And you brought the point out a little bit ago. When Obama got in office, it was balls to the wall with freakism. All right, and now you got Joe Biden in office that's doing nothing but taking off even more than Obama and his cabinet got set up. What did Biden do when he got in office? He had created his cabinet, which you got nothing but moles and trannies up in there. You know? That's why you brought that precept out of Sirach 10. As the ruler, so the people. You know? And you're a bigot and you're a problem for talking about this, man. Now, right? But Lot was considered righteous. So you ain't no bigot for feeling this type of way or no party pooper. But no, with you being vexed with this, you in a righteous spirit. All right? And I'm going to continue this in Genesis 13. And it says, Genesis 13 and 9. It said, verse 10. And Lot lifted up his eyes and beheld all the plain of Jordan, that it was well watered everywhere. Before the Lord destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah, even as the garden of the Lord. So he's likening it even to being like the garden in Eden. All right? Which spiritually, well, physically, they was actually within that region. Beyond, you know, the land of Canaan, if you can receive it, was the land of Eden. Well watered, palm trees. All right? Jericho was known for its palm trees. You had the rivers that met over there. All right? But he looked further eastward and he saw there was another area that was fruitful as well. All right? With Sodom and Gomorrah. So you can imagine how beautiful that it looked.
California vibe.
Like that California vibe, but the people over there made it so horrible and so bad. All right, you even read about it in Joel, where it goes into. Matter of fact, you know what? Can you pull up, type in Eden, Baba Kashaw on the blue letter, and there's a verse in Joel. I would love to bring it out because people came over here to Babylon for milk and honey. They portrayed in their mind streets paved in gold, the land of opportunity, the land of the free. It's like a paradise. All right, even when you go into the word Eden right here in the verse that the brother's about to pull out, that word Eden means pleasure, you know? So it was a place that was pleasurable, but in that place, they were fulfilling their wicked pleasures. You got it.
All right, it's Joel 2 and 3. It says, a fire devours before them, and behind them a flame burneth. The land is as the Garden of Eden before them.
Right, so you got, it's going into the judgment of Babylon right here. And it says the land behind them was like fire. Meaning, like, for example, that Terminator 2 clip, brothers always use Judgment Day, when Sarah Connor's on that fence. At first, he sees all the little kids playing. You know, everything looks peaceful and delightful, you know, but then that fire came and consumed. And that fire is coming as a besom. All right, so everything ahead is still going to be okay. And let's say your back is against the fire. You look and everything's nice in front of you. But behind you, everything is like under fire. All right? So I want to bring that out because that's, again, going into the example of what's about to happen to Babylon and how it was likened unto a place of pleasures. But that place of pleasures is going to be consumed, just like Sodom and Gomorrah. All right? You got it out.
Okay, come. This is, I got a quick one, bro.
Come.
This is, let me see. This is Luke 17 and 28. It says, likewise also, as it was in the days of Lot, they did eat, they drank, they bought, they sold, they planted, they builded. But the same day that Lot went out of Sodom, it rained fire and brimstone from heaven and destroyed them all.
And Lot was scarcely saved right there too. All right? It said that same exact day, which goes to show you when the elect get delivered by the angels, because Lot was delivered by the angels right here. All right? He didn't get beamed up in the chariot, but he showed hospitality toward those angels. All right? And mercy was shown unto Lot and his household, you know? So when you go into that, he followed the angels' instructions and their directions, and he got led out of that city that same day. Fire and brimstone rained upon Sodom and Gomorrah. And that is no different than when it comes to these last days that we're in right now. That's why the scriptures say the righteous shall scarcely be saved, meaning barely. All right? When you going up, the nukes are coming down.
That's right.
You know? You got it out.
It's the point. Verse 30 says, even thus shall it be in the day when the Son of Man is revealed.
Mm-hmm.
Coming into these times that we in now, man. So, like we started out with Ecclesiastes 1, that which is being is that which shall be, man. So the same thing that happened back then is happening now.
That's right.
And that just confirmed it, man. It's gonna be the same way, you know what I'm saying, as in the days of Lot, as in the days when Yahweh Shai is revealed, man.
Mm-hmm.
You see? The
That's
same
right.
thing going on, like the brother said, man. Our people are at the forefront of Dwayne Wade and his damn son.
Mm-hmm.
You see? Hey, man, it's always you so-called Negro, Latinos, and Native Americans, like the priest said, because you are the trendsetters, man.
Yep.
You know?
Come on.
I got that in Genesis if you want to get that example, bro.
What?
Going into Sodom and Gomorrah.
Because I was reading it right
Okay.
here. Yeah. It's all good. I'll finish it up. This is back in Genesis chapter 13, verse 10. It says, and Lot lifted up his eyes and beheld all the plain of Jordan, and this was well watered everywhere before the Lord destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah, even as the garden of the Lord, like the land of Egypt, as thou comest from Zoar. Then Lot chose him all the plain of Jordan, and Lot journeyed east, and they separated themselves one from another. Abram dwelt in the land of Canaan, and Lot dwelt in the cities of the plain, and pitched his tent towards Sodom. But the men of Sodom were wicked and sinners before the Lord exceedingly, as we brought that out in 2 Ezra the 15th chapter. And the Lord said unto Abram, after that Lot was separated from him, lift up now thine eyes and look from the place where thou art northward and southward and eastward and westward. For all the land which thou seest thee will I give it, and thy seed forever. Oh, I know you said you had it held. I see why you said that, because that's in the following chapter, right?
Oh, yes, 18 and 19.
Okay, my bad. Yeah. Well, that's good that was read. That way that history was brought out of what took place and what led Lot to go into that land. So yeah, Bobby Kashaw, we can jump straight to that in 18.
Okay. This is Genesis 18, and let me see.
So Lot was over there chilling for some time. Remember, he had status, he had wealth. All right. Lot was over there kicking it, but at the same time, he was vexed. So when I say kicking it, I don't mean that he was enjoying the scenery, but kind of like how we're over here in Babylon right now. All right, you got your job, you got your settlement and everything, but it's wicked, you know? And it also shows you too that Lot's servants, because they went over there with them too, his substance, they was living that life in Sodom. Mm-hmm. All right, because it says Lot and only his daughters got saved, mm-hmm. which shows you everybody that was with Lot that was having quarrels and schisms with Abraham's servants, they didn't make it. Mm-hmm. They was in that same spirit of wickedness. Yep. You know? You got it.
This is Genesis 18 and verse 20. It says, the Lord said, because the cry of Sodom and Gomorrah is great, and because their sin is very grievous, I will go down now and see whether they have done altogether according to the cry of it.
He said, I will go down now to see what was done and cry unto it. I'm sorry, you know, can you read that part again? So like it.
Verse 21, it says, I will go down now and see whether they have done altogether according to the cry of it.
According to the cry of it. All right, I got a quick precept. This is 2 Ezra chapter 6, verse 18. And it said, behold, the days come that I will begin to draw nigh and to visit them that dwell upon the earth, and will begin to make inquisition of them. Now, when you go into that word inquisition, it means to inquire. Mm-hmm. Ain't that the word that it said right there?
Basically, he's going to go down and see what's going on. Yeah,
he's going to see what's going on, just like you see that spirit here today. That inquisition is taking place. This is nothing new under the sun. All right? So it says in 2 Ezra 6 and 19, and will begin to make inquisition of them, that they be that have hurt unjustly with their unrighteousness, and when the affliction of Zion shall be fulfilled. All right? So it's the same spirit. It's the same energy. Okay? You got it.
Verse 22, it says, continue on in verse 21, it says, which is come unto me, and if not, I will know. And the man turned their faces from thence and went toward Sodom, but Abraham stood yet before the Lord. I'm gonna jump to verse 19. To chapter 19, bro. But basically, it goes into where Abraham basically asked the Lord, well, if it's 50, can you spare the city?
Yeah, right.
He started going down and down and down because there was no, you know what I'm saying? It was only Lot, man. Mm-hmm. Everybody else was in that mindset of wickedness, man.
Right.
Okay.
And then when you read about that, it even goes into how he ain't gonna save nobody. Mm-hmm. It says he ain't gonna save nobody. Right when the angels came there to make that, because the angels was there making inquisition. It's the two angels. And Lot greeted them at the gate. You know what I'm saying? And he bathed them in their house. I'm sorry, he bathed them in his house. And that action right there got Lot saved. Just by his charitable act, not even knowing that that was an angel. And that's why the scriptures say also, you know, that you have entertained angels unaware. You know, be not weary of well-doing. You know what I'm saying? And then it says give thanks always. And then it goes into the fact that there is so many times that we've given hospitality and done things to angels. You know? I be having thoughts sometimes even with certain brothers. You know what I'm saying? Like, man, what if that was an angel this whole time that was just there? You know, the Lord sent that angel there just to see your level of hospitality and your level of charity. And when that day comes, that brother, you know, shows himself to be an angel and chunks of deuces and shalom and flies back up in the air. You know, because that happened with Tobit. You know, that happened with Tobit when Tobias and that man was there with him. That was Raphael the whole time. But he said, I was of thy brethren, you know what I'm saying, of the tribe of Naphtali, and this is who the family line I come from. Told a fib in righteousness. You know, but at the latter day, that ended up being revealed to be an angel. You know, so just, you know, thoughts that take us, you know, there could be brothers that are amongst you, you know what I'm saying, that are just cool as hell, lowly, but the spirit is on you to help them out and do things, and they reporting that back up. You know, just a thought, you know, but yeah, it ain't far-fetched because there's history that's shown that to happen.
That's right.
You know, there's been angels to be considered men of God, like in Judges, there was a man of God that stood under the tree, and he prophesied, but that was an angel the whole time. You know what I'm saying? You got it, all right?
Okay, this is Genesis 19:1. It says, and there came two angels to Sodom at eve, and Lot sat in the gate of Sodom, and Lot seeing them rose up to meet them.
Now it said Lot, they was at the gate. The gate, the chief place of concourse. Very strong chance Lot was prophesying.
Oh yeah.
You know, in the gates of the nobles. You know, you got it.
It says, and he bowed himself with his face towards the ground, and he said, behold, now my lords, turn in, I pray you, unto your servant's house, and tarry all night. And what?
I'm sorry, select.
Okay. All right, verse 2 it says, and he said, behold, now my lords, turn in, I pray you, unto your servant's house, and tarry all night, and wash your feet, and ye shall rise up early and go on your way.
So this shows you as well that these angels that came in, like they probably had a look to them, bro. A look of nobility. Like these were lords. He called them lords. You know? So you could tell that these were angels that came in the presence of men that like they had power and status. You know, how they were dressed, how they looked, you know, to the point where Lot, who was already a very wealthy man, bowed his face down and said, Lords, come in, that way I can shelter you. You got it.
It says, and they said, nay, but we will abide in the streets all night.
Hey, what time does your phone say too, by the way?
It's 3:21, bro.
Okay, come, about 10 more minutes.
Okay. It says, and he pressed upon them greatly, and they turned in unto him and entered into his house, and he made them a feast, and they did bake unleavened bread, and they did eat.
See, Lot could have been weary, man. I ain't finna do that, man. But he wasn't weary of well-doing, as the scriptures say. He wasn't weary of well-doing, and he also entertained strangers, which were angels unaware. Has me thinking when Paul was moved to write that verse down in that letter, that could have been the thought that was there. Because that's exactly what took place in Genesis 19. That's exactly what happened. You know? You got it.
It said he pressed upon them like, nah, you know? Like, nah, you don't want to, you know what I'm saying? You don't want to go, you don't want to be out there at nighttime.
Nope.
You know what I'm saying? Verse 4 says, but before they laid down, the men of the city, even the men of Sodom, compassed the house round, both old and young.
Old freaks. Old nasty niggas, man. You know, old and young. Nasty niggas knocking at the door. You know?
It says, all the people from every quarter. And they called unto Lot and said unto him, where are the men which came in to thee this night? Bring them out unto us that we may know them.
Yo, that's nasty, man. That's nasty. They wanted to run a G.
Yeah, they're going to rape them, bro.
On the angels. They was going to rape the angels, bro. You know?
Man.
You got it.
Verse 6, and Lot went out at the door unto them and shut the door after him and said, I pray you, brethren, do not so wickedly.
He said, brethren. Man. Jeez, Louise. You got it.
Verse 8, behold, now I have two daughters which have not known man. Let me, I pray you, bring them out unto you. Do and do ye to them as is good in your eyes.
And you know, Lot didn't want to do that to his daughters, but he's pretty. That shows you the respect of a man back then. You know what I'm saying? To the point where you have your daughters, you're already a wealthy man, and with this wealth and status, you know, you can marry your daughters to other wealthy people and start legacies. You know, so he put that to the side because of these men. You know, it was like, you can have my daughters before you have these men. And this also is another example to show you how righteous he was, that he was willing to tear down his legacy, to have his legacy destroyed by these filthy, vile bastards. You know, that way these angels, these men that are in here, will be protected and they won't be touched. You know?
It says, only unto these men do nothing, for therefore came they under the shadow of my roof. And they said, stand back. And they said again, this one fellow came in to sojourn, and he will need to be judged. Now will we deal worse with thee than with them. And they pressed sore upon the man, even Lot, and came near to break the door.
So they was trying to even get nasty with Lot afterwards.
Oh man.
They was trying to take Lot's, you know, I ain't gonna say it, but they was trying to, they said, oh, okay, well, you worse than them now. You know? And they was trying to get Lot and the two angels that was in there. You know? You got it.
Verse 10, it says, but the man put forth their hand and pulled Lot into the house to them and shut the door. And they smote the men that were at the door of the house with blindness, both small and great.
Yeah, them angels started going to work. All right.
It says, so that they worried themselves to find the door. Them niggas was still trying to find the door. Lord, the angels smote them niggas were blind. They were still so wicked. Them niggas still was trying to search for the door, man.
Yeah.
You see?
And there's a thought that comes to my mind about that, like, you know, because of course, if you're blind, you're standing in front of the door, so you know it's there. But there's a chance that that door disappeared.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They're like, what the heck? Where, you know, reaching for it. Where in the world did the door go? You know what I'm saying? You got it.
Yeah, verse 12, it says, and the man said unto Lot, hast thou here any besides son-in-law, and thy sons, and thy daughters, and whatsoever thou hast in the city, bring them out of this place.
And you know what this reminds me of too? The Lord lifted up a standard right there for Lot. Because he was getting ready to be taken. Enemies can pass them like a flood.
Ooh, yeah.
They came and the Lord lifted up a standard immediately.
Yeah.
Showing you when this time happens, when this time comes, and our enemy can pass us like a flood, the Lord is going to lift that standard up, just like he did with Lot right there. You know?
Man. All right, verse 13, it says, for we will destroy this place, because the cry of them is waxing great before the face of the Lord, and the Lord hath sent us to destroy it.
So they revealed themselves to him who they were. Can you imagine how Lot felt that whole time? I'm so glad that the Spirit was on me to bring these men in my house.
Man.
Angels. You got it.
Verse 14, and Lot went out and spake unto his sons-in-law, which married his daughters, and said, up, get you out of this place, for the Lord will destroy this city. But he seemed as one that mocketh unto his sons-in-law. Yeah, man. They thought the sons-in-law thought Lot was bullshit. Basically, oh man, you go there. You know what I'm saying? Oh, bro, ain't nothing gonna happen. Basically,
scoffing.
Scoffing. You know what I'm saying? Verse 15, and when the morning arose, then the angels hastened Lot, saying, arise, take thy wife and thy two daughters, which are here, lest thou be consumed in the iniquity of the city.
Consumed in the iniquity, man. Wow. Pretty much like better leave before you get taken with the devices that's about to be taken. You know? Don't have your mind set towards Sodom and Gomorrah. It's about to be burned the hell up. You got it, bro.
Verse 16, and while he lingered, the man laid hold upon his hand, and upon his hand of his wife, and upon the hand of his two daughters, and the Lord being merciful unto them, Slaki says, and his two daughters, lay hands on his two daughters, Slaki, and the Lord being merciful unto him, and they brought him forth and set him without the city. Man, they took him out of the city, man. And it came to pass when they had brought them forth abroad, that he said, escape for thy life, look not behind thee, neither stay thou in all the plains, escape to the mountains, lest thou be consumed. And Lot said unto them, oh, not so, my Lord, behold, now thy servant has grace, and if thy servant found grace in thy sight, and thou hast magnified thy mercies, which thou hast showed unto me in saving my life, I cannot escape to the mountain, lest some evil take me and I die. Behold, now this city is near to flee unto, and it is a little one. Oh, let me escape thither. It is a little one. Is it not a little one? And my soul shall live. And he said unto him, see, I have accepted thee concerning this thing also, that I will not overthrow this city for which thou hast spoken. So Lot was gonna go to it, he had like, what I'm saying, hey, it's a place over here, what I'm saying, let me go to this city. So he said, all right, bet, you can go.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna jump down, bro, for time's sake. It says, let me see. He says, verse 22, it says, haste thee, escape thither, for I cannot do anything till thou come thither. Till thou be come thither. Therefore the name of the city is called Zoar. The sun was risen upon the earth when Lot entered into Zoar. Then the Lord rained upon Slack. Verse 24. Then the Lord rained upon Sodom and upon Gomorrah brimstone and fire from the Lord out of heaven.
Right, and that's the point right there. Lot's righteous actions and his righteous deeds that he was committed, his vexation that he had, received acknowledgement from the Lord's angels. Mm-hmm. All right, from the Lord, and then he was saved from that destruction, and the destruction happened immediately soon as he escaped. All right, Isaiah 13, Baba Kashaw, starting around like verse 16, please. All right, because exactly what's about to happen to this place, as the Apostle Peter makes mention, even righteous Lot, who was vexed with the filthy conversation of the wicked, we're in that same spirit today. But just as that vexation takes place, you keep showing that brotherly love, you keep showing that hospitality one toward another. All right, you continue with that sincere heart that you have, the Lord will deliver you from these perils to come. All right, and when the fire's coming down, you're going to be beamed and lifted up. Mm-hmm. All right, but that same spirit is likened, just as it was in Sodom and Gomorrah, all right, to Babylon the Great, America. And you quoted it earlier, Revelation the 11th chapter, the place which is spiritually called Sodom and Egypt, mm-hmm. where also our Lord was crucified. Now, the reason why I said Sodom, because you got Sodom, Gomorrah, and those three neighboring cities, but Lot was in Sodom. Mm-hmm. All right, Lot was in the land of Sodom right there, so it makes sense why that's mentioned in Revelation the 11th chapter. Mm-hmm. Okay, you got it.
Because Isaiah 13 and 16 says, their children also shall be dashed to pieces before their eyes, their houses shall be spoiled and their wives ravaged.
And this is going into the judgment of Babylon. All right, before the nukes hit, it's going to be lawlessness. It's going to be invading nations in here. All right, the scriptures say, I will send unto Babylon fanners, and they shall fan them. All right, so you're going to have all-out lawlessness on these streets. It's going to be terrible out here. Mm-hmm. You got it.
Verse 17, behold, I will stir up the Medes against them, which shall not regard silver, and as for gold, they will not delight in it.
Now, who are the Medes is talking about here? Gog and Magog. Russia, who is the chief nation that's going to head the sending of these nuclear missiles, the fire from heaven. Now, back then, it was fire and brimstone that fell from heaven. Mm-hmm. This way, all right, how it's going to happen, it's going to be by those ICBM missiles, mm-hmm. all right, which is still fire from the heavens. Yep. All right, the Lord put the spirit on Esau, Edom scientists to come up with the equation, all right, to create what's called nuclear fission, where you split an atom in half, all right, and that's a fire that's hotter than the sun. Mm-hmm. That's spiritual power. All right, like you read in Revelation, the 13th chapter, how he's been given power to perform miracles, and he caused fire to come down from heaven. Mm-hmm. All right, so the Lord has put the spirit on Esau, Edom to come up with this equation. That way, their own doings will have fire and brimstone come from heaven. Mm-hmm. Okay, so it's still the Lord sending fire and brimstone at the end of the day. Yep. He just put the spirit on these scientists to do it, a weapon that was meant to kill even themselves.
So in verse 18, it says that bows also shall dash the young man to pieces, and they shall have no pity on the fruit of the womb.
And what are the bows talking about? The arrows. What are the arrows talking about? The missiles. All right, you got it.
Their eyes shall not spare children. In Babylon, the glory of kingdoms, the beauty of the Chaldees' excellency, shall be as when the Most High overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah.
And that's exactly what we just read in Genesis 19. We read part of Genesis 14 going into what happened, what made Lot flee into that land, how that land was likened unto a land of pleasures. It was beautiful like Eden, all right, but the fruits of it was wicked, all right, and the Lord destroyed it. Just like you see over here in America. Certain areas are nice, lovely. You got the water, the sand, the trees, all right, the deers, the, you know what I'm saying, the peacefulness. But that's going to be destroyed. There ain't going to be nothing left over here, man, because there ain't nothing left of Sodom and Gomorrah. Mm-hmm. All right? But dust and ash, earth and ash.
Sure.
You got it.
Verse 20, it shall never be inhabited, neither shall it be dwelt in from generation to generation.
Ever again. Just like the land of Sodom and Gomorrah. Mm-hmm. That land to this day, nobody inhabits that region. Mm-hmm. All right? There's actually certain people, certain, not architects. I guess they're architects or geologists but they actually found that region. All right, and they actually pull up some of that ash and light it, and it lights on fire because that's that brimstone. You know, that's that brimstone, and that's that sulfur that's within that brimstone. Which to show you, because when you read it, it goes into how it was of sulfur and such when you read it in the scriptures. You know, so they found Sodom and Gomorrah. They find, you know, a burnt sphinx heads. You know what I'm saying? They find places in mountains that look like they used to be buildings at a point of times, doors and windows, but all of it's ash and dirt. All right, and just as that place is uninhabited, the same thing is going to be over here in America, Babylon. You read the prophecies where it goes into nothing that's going to be left, or everything that's going to be left. All right, it's only going to be the satire, which is the goats, and every hateful beast, the screech owl and such. It's only going to be those hateful beasts that's going to be left over. And you can imagine with that nuclear radiation, they're probably going to look like demons, you know, because it goes into the Marut where it says devils. But those devils are talking about he-goats. But with that nuclear radiation, bro, who's to tell how they're going to mutate? You know, it's going to be a place that you're going to look in remembrance like, yo, this is a place that pissed the Lord off, you know?
That's right. That what you want to keep going?
What time is it?
It's 3:34.
Unless you got a precept or anything like that. That was pretty much the point on that one. Hey, Lord's willingness is edifying. Wish it could have been longer and such, you know. But you know, gotta get going while the going's good. Gotta make a move, you know. But Lord's willingness is edifying. Want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushua, Ba'ashem, Rakakodash. Double honors to our apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Peace and blessing. Many salutations unto you elect across the four winds of this earth, fulfilling your lots in all truth and sincerity. Shalom.
Shalom.